Admit it. You're here because you want to know what was the worst Marvel project in 2022. And no, we're not going to talk about Morbius. Morbius is like Bruno. And we don't talk about Bruno. Bruno. Mark. So I've been thinking about doing this ranking for quite some time now, ever since I restarted my channel. And what better way to do a ranking of the 2022 Marvel projects that we have seen so far? Because yes, there have been, I would say, several that currently does not hold that good of a reception, whereas there are some that still do hold some special place in people's heart. So as an MCU fan, I will tell you my personal opinion, briefly what I thought about these projects that were released in 2022. There are a total of 9, so let's start off with number 9. Number 9, we have I Am Groot, released around the beginning of August, I believe. I Am Groot was this one-time treat that was released in Disney Plus, supposedly is canon, but nothing too grand really happens in the grander scope of the things in the MCU. I mean, at least not yet. Also, these shorts would range between 5 to 7 minutes of nothing but cute and silly shenanigans that Groot gets himself into. I mean, I enjoyed it. Most of the episodes were funny, but that's just it. Even if I were to re-binge the Infinity Saga, this limited series would just be 100% skippable. Number 8, we have Thor: Love and Thunder. Here is my experience when this movie was building up the hype prior and outcome after watching it twice in theater. Yes, I did that. I saw it twice in theater. Now, I'm sure a lot of you viewers were on the same position as I was. This movie, at first glance, it was enjoyable. It truly felt like an adventure. A Thor adventure. And I remember I did have fun. Great surprises, good action sequence. Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher was just insanely scary. And again, it was all at first glance. But then you give the movie a second shot, and that's when all of a sudden you're like, wait, what the f happened? After understanding the story and wanting to experience it again, you realize that the substance just really didn't have that same effect it was the first time. So, maybe it was the joke. And, I love Taika's creativity, don't get me wrong. But there should be moments when you have to have asked yourself, like, okay, is this too much? Because now, after the second time and third time watching it, it just becomes less desirable to rewatch. So this movie, sadly, just takes 8th place for me. Next up, we have Multiverse of Madness. Now, Multiverse of Madness was my most anticipated project from Marvel in 2022. And just to add a bit of relevant info, I'm a huge X-Men fan. They're just my all-time favorite Marvel group from Marvel Comics, the cartoons, and the movies. When the official trailer first dropped and Professor X showed up, I lost my shit. But then the rushing of the screenplay and the fact that it went through, 33 rewrites? Not only were there high expectations in this film that not a lot were met, but there were details and plot points that could have still made the movie and the characters more relevant, more meaningful. But for me, one of the only sad part about it was that they did not mention, not even once, the term mutants. And, I understand, we're not there yet. But yeah, I could just go on and on about Multiverse of Madness and the potential and possibility that could have been. It never was. So moving on, number 6, we got SheHulk, one of Disney Plus' original story show of 2022. Marvel Studio brought us a swift, somewhat offbeat lawyer comedy show to which I did enjoy. The action sequences, I would say, were like mild to moderate by the end of the show, probably in the last 2 episodes. And let's be real, it's all thanks to the fact that Daredevil made his second debut in the MCU in those 2 parts. And Jennifer Walters' fourth wall breaking, I enjoyed that. Tim Roth's performance was great. Just wish that we could have at least seen him in action one way, shape, or form. Same goes with Bruce Banner as our Hulk. Again, just more expectations and stories leaving room for more that could have still been relevant to the show and would have made the show better. And number 5, we have Ms. Marvel. Now we're basically halfway up the rank, and most of these that are 5 and above have truly stood out to me the most. So with Ms. Marvel, I always enjoy a nice lighthearted teen, high school comedy series, especially being an origin story of Ms. Marvel. The fact that they've changed the concept of how Kamala gets her powers, being different from the comics, set pretty well with me. And not only do we receive a new origin story, but the show also features culturally rich environment looking into Kamala's life, family, friends, Muslim tradition, not to mention learning a piece of history pertaining to the partition of 1947, which I thought was interesting. The show also sets up the story and plot for the Marvels, which is coming up later this year, so I can't wait to see how that's going to be unfolded. In number 4, we have Werewolf by Night, Disney Plus first short film / Marvel presentation, special presentation as they say. This was sort of like an experimental content that Marvel Studios started putting out, and let me just say, it worked. Werewolf by Night introduces an entire new genre to the MCU, the dark, mystical, and monstrous side of it all. Now part of it, I just know that we're gonna be seeing a lot more about it in possibly the new Blade movie, whenever that's gonna be. This short film just had all that it had to offer, especially during the Halloween occasion. The black and white quality to it just paid a great homage to classic horror movies like Nosferatu, especially The Wolfman. And I do agree that Marvel Studios should focus on projects like this, especially when it comes to introducing new characters. Number 3, we have Wakanda Forever. Now, it's obvious fact that Wakanda Forever does not top the first Black Panther. In fact, any further sequels that will follow never will. But the second sequel to the Black Panther delivered a really good continuation of the first one and the city of Wakanda post-Endgame. The introduction of Namor was one that I was looking forward to, and I can't wait for Tenoch Huerta to reprise his role again soon. And I truly believe the movie was done beautifully, and it's done a marvelous work remembering and honoring Chadwick Boseman. Number 2, I have listed here Guardians Holiday Special. I mean, we all know and we all love this group, and what better way to enjoy time with these guys of misfits and with Peter Quill also, with none other than around Christmas time. And the funny part of it all is that this was more like an adventure of Drax and Mantis on a simple mission to kidnap a movie actor. I mean, the comedy just hit perfectly with this short film. And by the end of it, when Mantis reveals to Peter that she's his sister, like that just sealed the entire year with such a good, heartwarming letter to all the fans. And wishing a happy holidays to all of us, so there's that. But the project that earns my number 1 place, first place, is none other than Moon Knight. The second half of Phase 4 started off with this project, a new character, just a story and an environment that's a little further away from the bigger universe. And the story and character itself just covered a huge layer of a lot of important things. Things such as the complexity of it, the tone, basically the mature, grounded content that we always look for. And you really can't deny Oscar Isaac's performance as not only 1 but 2 characters. I rewatched the series about 5 times, and not a single time, even if I were to watch it again, do I not make it through episode 5 without crying, because it hits you just like that in the feels. So that's my ranking for MCU's 2022 project, and I will be doing the projects of 2021, the first half of Phase 4. But until then, guys, stay cool, stay safe, and continue to watch movies the way they were meant to be watched, along with everyone else, because it's better when we watch together. Enough said.